These were 5 Middle Eastern fragrances that were super hyped, super talked about. I bought them, I wore them, and now I can't really remember the last time I actually chose to wear any one of these fragrances. These are definitely perfumes that I haven't worn in a really long time. I haven't really smelled them in a while, so I figured that this would be a good video to kind of reflect on some of these fragrances and evaluate whether or not I still like them anymore, because at the end of the day, tastes do change, opinions do evolve, and I actually did film a part 1 to this video. You guys seem to really enjoy that one, so I figured let's go into my collection again and pick out some fragrances that I feel like I haven't worn in a while. I did go through a phase of blind buying a lot of Middle Eastern perfumes, which is why I think I've accumulated so many that I don't really wear that much anymore. And now when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances specifically, I'm far more likely to buy a decant of them and just like buy like a few decants, try them out, perhaps do a few reviews on them based on that decant. And if I really like them, then I'll go out and buy the full bottle. But in this particular scenario, I was blind buying a lot of perfumes and a lot of Middle Eastern fragrances because that was my phase at that point. And I would say right now, I'm not so sure about these perfumes. So we're going to talk about them today, and just keep in mind, I still might like these perfumes, but my tastes have changed. My tastes have evolved. What I reach for on a regular basis has changed. So keep that in mind. First up is ANECHKAFRAGRANCES Dubai by Latafa. This is the feminine version of this fragrance. There's a masculine version that comes in a black bottle. That is the completely different fragrance. I'm referring to the feminine version that comes in this bottle design. This is a perfume that was super hyped up. I got bought into the hype. I bought this fragrance and I did like it when I first got it. I thought it was a nice mango fragrance. But there's something about the mango note that has just gotten so boring to me. And this is, again, personal preference completely. But I just don't like mango as much. I don't like mango. And it seems like whenever I smell mango, to me personally, it just ends up smelling redundant. And granted, this is, I would say, one of the more unique mango fragrances I've smelled. But still, it still adheres to like that mango kind of fruity, smoothie mango, maybe with some oud. Um, but yeah, I'm not like super into it. Sometimes mango can be done in a really interesting way. This is not that scenario, in my opinion. I did like it. I still do like it. I feel like I'd like it on other people, but it's not a fragrance that I want to wear myself at this point. This has top notes of orange and lemon, a mid of mango, osmanthus, and jasmine, and then a base of oud, sandalwood, musk, and amber. Again, this is completely personal preference, and this might change, but right now I just feel like this is a fragrance that I wouldn't necessarily reach for. Um, it's nice, but I'm just not a fan of like the osmanthus and mango combo. This is completely out of personal preference. It's just not something I'm interested in reaching for at this time. Another perfume that was actually one of the very first Middle Eastern fragrances I ever purchased is Raga by Latafa, and I'm glad I have a small bottle because this doesn't take up a lot of room. It's really easy to store. I don't get pressed about it. But this essentially is like a spicy, resinous, sugary perfume. I think there's sugar in here. I think there's oud as well. This perfume also focuses on vanilla. So yeah, we have vanilla, sugar, oud, incense, sandalwood, and musk. This is a perfume that's a good introduction to oud if you've never smelled oud before and you're interested in trying it out. I really liked this perfume when I first was getting into fragrances because this was affordable, it was accessible, it was easy to wear, it was a really good winter scent. And to be honest, the reason I haven't smelled this, or not smelled, the reason I haven't worn this fragrance in such a long time is simply because I have expanded my collection to include other fragrances that kind of fit the scent profile but are superior to it. And one of those fragrances would definitely be Sugar Leather by Une Nuit Nomade. Again, the price difference is significant. This is $20. This is around, I think, $100 for this size bottle. But that's just where my collection is at the moment. If I couldn't afford to get this one, I'd still wear Raga. But now that I have this in my collection, I'm far more likely to reach for Sugar Leather because to me, the spiciness in this fragrance is much more smooth. It's a more elevated scent. There's the added complexity of leather in here. It's less woody, which I like in the scent profile. So I'd far more likely go for this kind of fragrance than to go for a Raga if I'm trying to go for something in this like kind of sugary, resinous, spicy scent family. So it's not necessarily that Raga is a fragrance that I wouldn't recommend anymore. I would, if you're looking for something in this price point. But since I already have sugar leather, I'm far more likely to go for this one. Looking at the selection, I feel like I just have a dislike for tropical notes. I think that's what's happening here because I'm looking at these fragrances and I'm like, they smell nice, but they're not my favorite. I haven't worn them. And I think all these fragrances happen to have, or most of these fragrances happen to have some kind of like tropical note to them. And this is one of them. This is Kayed Alpha Sun Unlimited. This is a fragrance that focuses on coconut and vanilla. This perfume has notes of coconut, citruses, and pineapple at the top, a mid of ylang-ylang, frangipani, and jasmine, and then a base of vanilla, musk, sandalwood, and sweet notes. This perfume just smells like... It's nice. That's the thing. It smells nice. It's like kind of a slightly Play-Doh-y vanilla with some bright citruses. I definitely smell those at the top. It kind of smells almost like jelly beans. It's an interesting fragrance. I might have to go back to this in the summertime, but I just haven't worn it in a really long time. And I think because I just wasn't really interested in like this particular kind of fruity, coconutty, musky scent. I like it. I just haven't worn it in a while. And maybe this perfume or this video is an opportunity for me to revisit this fragrance. Because I cannot remember the last time I wore this, because I think when I first got this, I was wearing it, yes, on and off. But there wasn't anything that was like, too extraordinary about this fragrance enough for me to actually wear it. But I feel like this would be a good fragrance for springtime, but I just can't really picture myself reaching for this fragrance right now because quite honestly, I feel like there's some other musks in my collection that I prefer over this one. But I would say this is kind of like a musky perfume that's like softer. It's not as screechy as some other musks out there, especially at this price point. Um, it's a nice one. The coconut really comes through in the dry down. But once again, this is just quite simply not a fragrance that I want to smell for an entire day, which is why I haven't really worn this. I would say for the price point, the price is really good. It's $14 right now on Amazon. Um, I like it. I don't love it. I might wear it again, especially in the spring, but it's just not like wowing me. It might wow me when it gets warmer. Who knows? I don't know. But I would say in this video so far, this has been the one that I'm kind of like thinking, okay, maybe I should try this again. But yeah, Kayed Alfresan Unlimited by Lattafa in the white bottle. Okay, so this next one, I will definitely say I bought into the hype. I got this fragrance and I tried it, and I tried it a few times, and I'm like, I do not want to devote an entire day to wearing this. This is Kayed Pistachio by Paris Corner. This is a fragrance that's really like focused on that pistachio gelato aspect, but it really leans into like the gourmand pistachio nuttiness, like the pistachio gelato. I like the smell of this objectively. I just do not want to smell like this. So Paris Corner with this line of fragrances, they've kind of been unabashedly duping the Kayali perfumes, but so far the fragrances I've tried are usually a twist on the Kayali fragrances. So they don't necessarily copy them, they just take inspiration from the fragrances and they go their own way with them, which may or may not be a good thing. That's up for debate. But in this particular instance, this perfume kind of leans into that gourmand pistachio aspect more so than the original Yum Pistachio Gelato did. So if I had to compare the two, I know a lot of people prefer this one. I am not one of those people. I actually prefer the original Kayali version because the original Kayali, to me, it's just more unusual because it kind of like focuses on like that coldness in a sense. So like Yum Pistachio Gelato by Kayali, to me, smelled like being in a gelato shop and kind of like smelling that cold air, smelling like the cold, like, gelato containers, and then having the ice cream kind of like served in front of you. Whereas this smells like just the ice cream or just the gelato with the nuts, and really that's it. Some people might really be gravitating towards that. I know a lot of people prefer this again for that reason, but I, after a year of having, or has it been a year? After smelling this scent profile for, I would say, about a year, I kind of prefer the Kayali one. Um, and again, I like the smell. I feel like I'd even like it better in a candle, but this is just not something I want to wear. And I think I just got tired of the pistachio note really fast. Like, I don't know what it was, but I think I fell on the hype train and then I fell off of it rather quickly. Because now there are a few pistachio fragrances in my collection, and I cannot remember the last time I wore them. And that, again, that's just personal preference. Next up is Yara Tous by Latafa. If you are new here, well, welcome. This is a fragrance that I honestly have been nagging on for quite some time now. I feel like I go between, should I declutter it, should I not declutter it? And to be honest, okay, I will admit this, I have been a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to fragrances I don't particularly like. And I think because I have my YouTube channel, I feel less inclined to declutter certain fragrances just because it's useful to have these fragrances on hand so I can bring them out and talk about them. Um, but from a normal person's perspective, I would have already decluttered this if I'm being completely honest. This is a fragrance that really focuses on the mango, tropical mango smoothie theme, and I don't like it. This is Yara Tous. It smells like a mango smoothie. It smells like a very overripe mango smoothie, which is nice. It's not a bad smell, but it's just not one I want to smell all day. And even in the summer, I wore this fragrance. I liked it as a summer fragrance, but I got sick of it real fast. It was just not a perfume that stood the test of time for me. So this perfume has notes of mango, coconut, and passion fruit, a mid of jasmine, heliotrope, and orange blossom, and then a base of vanilla, musk, and cashmere. And at this point, I think I would have already published this particular video, but I filmed a video talking about the fragrance notes I was not a fan of, and it's interesting because coconut and mango are both in that video, and I talk about not liking those particular fragrance notes in certain fragrances because sometimes it just ends up smelling very redundant, and this is a very, this is personal preference, might I add. I've said personal preference like 5 million times in this video, but that's just because I want to emphasize that just because a fragrance is in this video does not mean it's a bad fragrance. It's just personal preferences and tastes do evolve. As someone who reviews fragrances online, I can tell you this smells good, this smells like A, B, and C, but if I'm choosing a fragrance to wear, I'm just going to go off of preference. So even if I think a fragrance smells nice, if I'm not choosing to wear a fragrance, I'm going to not choose to wear a fragrance. Like, that's just how it is. Like, if I have the choice of wearing a green sweater and a purple sweater, and they're both the same sweater, but they are just different colors, and they both objectively look nice, I'm going to go for the color sweater that best suits my mood and what I want to wear that day. And in many cases, when I have a fragrance collection with so many perfumes that are objectively really beautiful, I'm going to go for the ones that speak to me at any given point. And in this particular case, this fragrance profile is not something that I have been gravitating towards, and that's personal preference. But this just smells like mango smoothie, and it smells objectively nice, but it's just not a fragrance that I'm like, I have to wear it. Well, I have to wear this. It smells objectively nice, but it's just not a fragrance that I'm like, I have to wear this. And maybe if I go on a tropical beach vacation, this will be the perfect perfume. But right now, it's not. So there you go. All right, so those are all the fragrances I have to talk to you about today. Let me know, what are your thoughts on these perfumes? Have you tried them yourself? If so, do you agree? Do you disagree with these fragrances? Are there any perfumes in your collection that you're kind of like, I used to like them, but now I don't? And let me know what those fragrances are. I'd love to chat about it in the comments. But yes, thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you next time. Bye.